among those bidders. Those bidders are familiar to the township. We purchased material from both. They're listed in bulletins 41 and 15 of PennDOT so that they are approved as bituminous and aggregate suppliers. All information has been submitted with these bids and forwarded to the township.
Carol, would you say what the total amount of the bids are?
Well, the total amount of the highway materials bid, who bid on all items except for the cold patch, is $146,075. The total amount of the Otland Myers bid, who bid on only the binder course, wearing course, and cold patch, is $135,600. So rather than looking at total prices, we look at line item by line item, which the best values were, and that's how this contract was set up.
So this is the cold patch.
That's what you use to fill potholes when it's not warm enough to do proper paving.
Is that like an amount that we're bound to, or is that just the? I mean, we just.
Fortunately, no. It's just an example of how much material we anticipate we would need,
Right.
but you're not bound to purchase that.
So it's just like a unit, comes out a unit price based on
Correct.
tonnage.
It's a way to evaluate.
10 tons of cold patch, whether we use any of it.
Correct.
And the other is blacktop and other materials that we would need to use in any of our paving processes.
Correct. Blacktop and stone and aggregate.
I'll make the motion to award the bid to split it. Highway materials, Alan Myers for the cold patch, and highway materials for the remainder of the bid. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that? Clarification? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None.
Next item on my report is just to advise that the township staff and I have been working together to prepare a map of open development applications for inclusion on the township website. The map was finished and delivered to township staff to be added to the township webpage. Chip seal for 4.5 miles of township roads is currently out for bid. The bid opening for that is March 21st. At last month's meeting, I was asked about the process, and so I put some specifications to be sure I was providing a complete answer. Roads to be treated are first swept of debris and loose materials. The contractor then applies emulsified asphalt, then stone in 2 layers. The surface is compacted with a roller and swept to remove the loose aggregate. The contractor must return to sweep again between 7 and 21 days later. When that contract is awarded, I'll provide a list of streets to be treated for posting on the township website. During the month of February, traffic calming policies and resolutions were collected from other Pennsylvania municipalities and shared with the manager, the police chief, and the solicitor. I believe that appears later on the agenda to further discuss traffic calming. At the workshop meeting last week, residents raised questions about Village Drive and traffic. I did revisit some of the data collected by the police department, and I'm prepared to expand on that if anybody's interested. Is there anybody interested in Village Drive traffic?
Yeah.
Okay. On Village, I revisited the data that was collected by the Township Police Department. So on Village Drive near Aspen Way, the total average daily traffic was 1,234 vehicles. The 85th percentile speed was 31 miles per hour. What that means is that 85% of the vehicles were traveling at or below 31 miles per hour. Near the 200 block of Village Drive, the total average daily traffic, average number of cars on that road each day, was 605 vehicles. The 85th percentile speed was 26 miles per hour. That means that 85% of the vehicles were traveling at or below 26 miles per hour. There was an interesting directional component to that data. Twice as many vehicles traveled in one direction than the other, supporting the notion that drivers might be using this as a cut-through. The combined data collected from both locations on Village Drive indicated that less than 2% of vehicles were exceeding 36 miles per hour, which would be the minimum enforceable speed violation. Revisiting the question about stop signs, stop signs are governed by Title 67, Section 212 of the Pennsylvania Code, and authority is granted to the Township by Title 25, Section 6109. Sorry, 75, thank you. The installation of multi-way stop signs is to be based on a warrant analysis. Now, a warrant is a minimum volume threshold that must be met for the signs to be installed. You might think of it as a test that the intersection has to pass for installation of multi-way stop signs. The volume warrants for multi-way stop sign begin with a major street, which in this case would be Village Drive. The total volume of traffic on a major street must be more than 300 vehicles per hour for 8 hours of an average day. The largest hour of volume in the data collected was 5 p.m. when the combined total number of vehicles from both directions near Aspen Way was 108 vehicles. So the traffic data tells us that the volumes are less than 30% of the volumes that would warrant a multi-way stop sign, and the studied locations do not pass the test, so to speak, for multi-way stop signs. So in summary, the data collected by the police department does not indicate a statistical speeding problem. The data might support this perspective that Village Drive is used as a cut-through, and the stop signs that are currently on Village Drive do not meet warrants for multi-way stop signs. Jumping ahead, a grant application was completed and submitted to the Department of Community and Economic Development, requesting roughly $62,000 to fund the lining of 14 manholes in the sanitary sewer collection system. That manhole lining program began in 2007. The township system has approximately 273 manholes, and to date, 63 of those have been lined. The result is a reduction in average daily flow of 40,000 gallons per day, which is significant for a 200,000 gallon per day plant. Even more significant, this work reduced the extreme flow rates in wet weather events, so that permit exceedances were reduced over the past 11 years. I'd like to thank the Township Planning Commission and also the Central Valley Regional, Perkiomen Regional Planning Commission for providing letters of support for this grant application. Also during the month of February, the Township responded to requests for additional information from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection regarding the sewage facilities planning for the Creekside Perkiomen development, also known as the Ragusa property. It's our understanding that once Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection acknowledges the information is complete, the Conservation District will permit the owner to proceed with work under their NPDES permit. Victory Gardens has advised that upon approval to resume work, they will begin by removing and chipping the felled trees on that property. Stumps will be pulled along the perimeter of the area of disturbance to allow installation of erosion and sediment control features. The Saks land development plans for a Dunkin' Donuts store at Big Road and Circle Drive are currently under review and are on the agenda to be discussed at the March Planning Commission meeting. And a plan of lot line adjustment was prepared for Coble Park to address a request by DCNR. The lot line adjustment doesn't change Coble Park in any way. The park is comprised of 2 parcels, and one of those was obtained with DCNR funding over 20 years ago. Over 2 decades ago, township maintenance structures were erected on a portion of the grant-funded parcel. This was noted in a recent inspection and is inconsistent with the terms of that funding program. So the subdivision is proposed as a lot line change towards resolution of the matter, and will also be on the agenda of the March 15th Planning Commission meeting. Those are all the items on my report this evening. I thank you for your patience. And I'd be happy to address any questions you may have on these or other township engineering matters.
Thank you, Carol. Any questions for our engineer?
Yeah, Ron Kerwin, gravel pipe. At the workshop session, it was mentioned that the speed study that was done on Village Drive may not have been in the best position. Would it be worthwhile to request an additional study in a different position with input from the residents of the development? Chief?
Listen, I'm happy to do anything that the public wants. When those, I was there, I personally set up those devices. We did that in compliance with the manufacturer. There's topographical issues. They don't want it in curves. You also have to be able to find a fixed item that is within a distance from the roadway to meet the requirements for metering. We did all that. I understand, and I've heard from people in the public that there was concern that it wasn't done in a specific location. If somebody, listen, we're not flawless, we make mistakes, I'd be happy to take another look at it. I don't think that you're going to see a dramatic shift in the data at all. That's my professional opinion. But once again, as I said, when we set this up and we ran the device, this was after we had read through the manual. We spoke with a gentleman from the company that manufactures this, and he gave us very specific directions. He actually lives locally, and said that he'd be more than happy to be down here and help us if we had any questions. We didn't run into any issues or problems, so we didn't need to take him up on that offer. But we did that in compliance with what the manufacturer recommends. That was our first attempt at using the device. I think it was successful, and we've had multiple other data collected throughout the township, and once again, we feel that data stands resolute. I think that, as I said, I'd be happy to talk to anybody. If somebody wants to contact me, I'd be happy to discuss it with them, but I think that the data is not going to change that dramatically. I really don't believe so.
So just for everybody's information, how far away from the stop sign is the equipment capturing the speed?
See, this was part of the problem. Once again, this has to do with the topographical considerations of the area. We could not get it into the area where, if there was an area that says, this is where I would like to have it, we just couldn't do it. There wasn't an item there to affix it to. It was too far back. There was concerns with that. We actually wound up running it in a pretty close proximity, so that, I understand what you're saying. Whether people were slowing down, whether people were coming up towards the road. This area over here presents significant issues for us, and I'm also going to throw this in. Enforcement with our current technology is going to be difficult over here too, and it's the same thing. We have to have sight line, we have to have lines painted on the roadway. If we use our new device, which we will be getting any day now, it's still going to be the same thing. We're going to have to set this up, but we can't. They don't want it coming out of the bend. They don't want it coming out of the curb. So to answer your question more directly, Marla, we were really limited on where we were able to capture that. These are the same devices that an engineering company would use and employ. There's nothing different. We were using professional quality equipment. I think that the purpose is, and what we need to stay focused on, is the volume of traffic, because that's not going to change. Do I agree that the speeds, depending on where it's placed? Possible. But the volume is what is somewhat hindering us with the stop signs.
Thank you.
Sure.
Bob Burns, Zimmerville Road. Carol, you mentioned the map that you turned over. Was a determination made on the Santa property as to what you have that labeled as? I believe you're still calling it R5, is that correct?
No, it's not called R5, it's called an open application on that map.
Okay. Well, I think we need to know exactly what if it's R1 or if it's R1 and R5, we need to know that
No,
before that goes up.
it was an R5 property, and that zoning changed right around the top, right the same day that application was filed, that zoning changed. So it's no longer zoned R5.
Well, last month's meeting, it was brought up to Tom Keenan to find out when that hearing was done. and when the application was done. So from what I'm understanding from other sources, it's never been listed R5. So if it has, we should have those documents here in the township and they should be provided. I think that needs to be done before it gets put on the website.
Well, I don't know what question you're asking me to answer, Mr. Burns.
So you've given the office staff the map, you're ready for it to be put on the website, correct?
I've given them a map, not about zoning, but about what applications are currently open or conditionally approved in the township.
Okay, so then the question would go to either Tom Keenan or the township manager, whether or not they're going to put that up prior to having the correct information on the Santa property.
No, I think the confusion is that if the original project goes forward, which was for apartment buildings, that would come under the R5, because that's when it was filed. If another party purchases that property, at that point, it can become R1. Is that correct?
Just a minute, if I could. It's R1 and has been for over a decade, but an application was submitted while it was R5. And that application is still hanging out there. And that's our issue that we need to face into and discuss.
Can we resolve that before it's put up on the website?
Sure.
Thank you.
Seems to me,
How are we going to resolve it?
I don't know, but we can hold off putting it on the website.
Yeah, I think the challenge, Bob, is the original person who got the approval, they can, that's what the approval is for, the R5, and they can still go forward building apartment buildings under R5 if they choose to. They probably won't. So if they sell that property, at that point it becomes R1, which is what it was changed to. So technically, again, correct me if I'm wrong, if that person has the open application that was approved under